Was there ever a Monopoly man with a monocle? You grew up believing certain things were true, undeniably, unquestionably real. You didn't doubt them. Why would you? They were right there, printed in your memory like a childhood photo. The Monopoly man had a monocle, right? You can picture him now. Top hat, cane, white mustache, and that tiny, round monocle perched over one eye. Maybe you remember seeing him on a board game box, or in the corners of your childhood Monopoly money. It's a clear image, a sharp memory, and yet, it never happened. This is one of the most unsettling Mandela effects of all time, because it doesn't just challenge what we remember, it mocks it. In this video, we're peeling back the polished surface of our collective memories to reveal a twist that has shaken thousands of people. The Monopoly man, officially known as Rich Uncle Pennybags, never had a monocle. Ever. So why do so many of us remember him having one? Why does the image feel so real, so right? Let's take a walk through distorted memories, confabulated nostalgia, and maybe, just maybe, a fractured timeline. Glitch in memory. Let's sit with the image for a moment. The Monopoly man, Rich Uncle Pennybags, a staple of family game nights. He's got a white handlebar mustache, a tuxedo with tails, a cane, and, of course, a monocle. Except, he doesn't. But for decades, people have been absolutely convinced that he did. And this isn't a fuzzy memory, it's vivid. People describe specific memories watching the Monopoly commercial in the 90s and swearing he had a monocle, seeing the box at their grandparents' house, even sketching him out in art class with a monocle. The image is so ingrained that pop culture ran with it. Parodies of the character often include a monocle. He's been mocked in cartoons, memes, and late-night comedy sketches, all with a monocle intact. It's not just one or two people, it's tens of thousands. Reddit threads, Twitter debates, YouTube comments filled with, "Wait, what?" The strangest part, people who discover the truth feel genuinely disturbed. They don't just laugh it off. It feels like they've stumbled into a reality that isn't quite right. The harsh reality. Let's be clear, Rich Uncle Pennybags has never worn a monocle in any official Hasbro or Parker Brothers version of Monopoly. Not in the original 1936 design. Not on the cover of Monopoly editions from the 1960s, 1980s, or 2000s. Not in promotional materials. Not in video game adaptations. It's just not there. Look it up now. Pull out your board game if you have one. Zoom in on his face. He has a top hat, a red bow tie, and a cane. But there is no monocle. There never was. Hasbro has even addressed the confusion directly. In interviews, their spokespersons confirm Pennybags never had a monocle. The misconception is so widespread that they've acknowledged it in promotional material, usually with a wink. And yet, the memory persists. We are left with a jarring dissonance between what we remember and what's real. It's like waking up from a dream, only to find that the dream has followed you into the daylight. Origin and discovery. So where did this false memory start? Unlike some Mandela effects, this one doesn't have a clear point of origin, but it gained massive attention in the early 2010s when people began discussing it on Reddit and YouTube. A 2013 Reddit thread titled, "Wait, the Monopoly guy never had a monocle," exploded with hundreds of replies. Soon after, TikTok and Twitter users posted reaction videos showing their live disappointment as they Googled the character. The phrase "Monopoly Man Mandela Effect" began trending on Google. Though not directly linked to Fiona Broome, the woman who coined the term Mandela Effect. This particular case became one of the most cited examples of the phenomenon. And what makes it so powerful is the confidence with which people swear by their memory. They know he had a monocle. They don't question it until they're forced to. Psychological theories. Let's step into the science for a moment. Why would so many people remember something that never happened? Psychologists call this confabulation. It's when the brain fills in gaps in memory with fabricated or distorted information without intending to deceive. There's also the idea of schema. Our brains use mental frameworks to categorize things. And monocles, they're associated with wealth, power, and old-fashioned capitalism. Combine that with the Monopoly man's outfit. Top hat, tuxedo, cane. And a monocle seems like a natural fit. Our brains complete the image automatically, even if it was never there. Another contributing factor, false memory syndrome. Once an idea is seeded, whether through a joke, a cartoon, or a passing comment, it can plant itself deep. Over time, it cements. Psychologists have replicated this in studies. In one famous experiment, researchers convinced participants that they met Bugs Bunny at Disneyland. Impossible, because Bugs Bunny is a Warner Brothers character. And yet, people remembered it in vivid detail. Memory, it turns out, is not a vault. It's a sketchbook. And sometimes, the pencil slips. Fringe theories. But what if the answer isn't psychological at all? What if we're remembering correctly? Enter the multiverse. According to some fringe theorists, Mandela effects like this one are evidence of timeline shifts. Somewhere, in some version of reality, rich Uncle Pennybags did have a monocle. But that's not the timeline we're in anymore. The theory goes deeper. Some tie it to CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, suggesting that particle collider experiments may have accidentally nudged us into an alternate dimension. A reality nearly identical to ours, but not quite. In this theory, the Berenstain Bears did exist. Nelson Mandela did die in prison. And the Monopoly man did have a monocle. Others cite quantum consciousness, the idea that our awareness can overlap between timelines. So the reason you remember the monocle isn't that you're wrong. It's that you once lived in a reality where you were right. It's a chilling idea, because if that can change, what else can? Cultural echoes. The Mandela effect surrounding the Monopoly man hasn't just stayed in internet forums. It's exploded into pop culture, memes, sketches, TikToks. One of the most famous examples comes from Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls. In one scene, Ace mistakes a rich man at a party for the Monopoly man and says, "You must be the Monopoly guy." The man is wearing a monocle. That scene alone cemented the monocle association in millions of minds. Even brands have joked about it. Fan art of the Monopoly man with a monocle circulates widely. Some Halloween costumes include the monocle, and people argue over whether it's accurate. The collective insistence on this false image has made it a symbol of distorted memory, a shorthand in conversations about reality glitches. What's real? What's remembered? And where do the two no longer overlap? So let's recap. The Monopoly man never had a monocle, yet thousands, maybe millions of people remember him with one. Psychology tells us it's a memory trick, a mental shortcut, a schema glitch. But what if it's not? What if this isn't just a mistake, but a message? A clue that our reality is not as stable as we think.
Because if your mind can conjure such a specific image, down to the glass rim and the silver chain, only to find it was never real, then you have to ask,
what else isn't real? If this video shook something loose in your memory, leave a comment below. Did you remember the monocle too? Or were you one of the few who always knew the truth? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who still insists you're wrong. Because behind every memory, there's a truth waiting to escape.